Broadcasting from our subterranean studios in beautiful Paradise Valley, Pennsylvania, it's Business and Brain Tumor Talk, a unique show with topics to educate, inspire, and implement. Without further ado, here's your host, Rick Franzo.
Welcome to Business and Brain Tumor Talk. I'm your host, Rick Franzo. Today with us, we have two very special guests from Burke HomeServices and Dr. Energy Saver, Jeremy Burke and Matt Bauman. Welcome, gentlemen.
How you doing, Rick?
I'm doing great.
Thank you very much.
Is that your Elvis impression? Thank you. Thank you very much. That was good, Jerry. I like that.
Thank you.
So today we're going to be talking about your business, and we're going to giving some really solid strategy to people that are listening. Maybe they're in the trades, maybe they have a business, but we're going to talk about where you came from, where you are now, and where you're going as a business. So starting with Jeremy, you guys have been in business for about how long now?
Oh, it's going to be going on 20 years, 19 years we've been in business.
Nice. Excellent. And so always with the construction and the home services and the remodeling, or did we do other things? Did we do the basement systems with that as well in the beginning?
Well, I'll give you a quick little background. I mean, when we started off in subcontracting, framing for builders, doing different things, and, Matt over here, he was working for those type of builders in the beginning. And we strayed into more remodeling and more homeowner residential work when we were getting into like 2008, when the crash of the housing industry. So we strayed and stayed more into remodeling at that time because most of the builders were losing clients. So the work wasn't there. But we were heavy in remodeling, so it was good because it kept us pretty busy.
Sure. Absolutely. And then when did we switch into basement systems? Was Matt with us the whole time or no?
Matt came aboard. What year was it now?
Going on 15 years here. So yeah, like 2008, 2009 time for period.
And
okay.
That's when we were slowly getting into the basement products, the energy, the waterproofing, the crawl spaces. We had just started getting into that stuff at that time frame. Well, one is because we were going into people's homes and we were seeing how devastated they were with the rot and repair, and we were really looking into seeing how is this happening? How can we understand what's going on so that when we go in, we don't have to come back, years from now. And it got us into, our crawl space encapsulation business that we're in.
Excellent. And so what prompted you to start in construction and evolve in this way? What was the motivation? Did you go to a technical school for it? Was somebody in your family in construction?
Yeah, I'm going to say, my uncles were in construction. My father was not. He was just he's a welder, so he's mechanically inclined. He can do a lot of things, but he's just a get it done kind of guy. And I did go to work for my relatives when I was younger. And, at first it starts off the same. You go into it because you need some income, you need to work. And I was lucky enough to have those people in my family that I worked with, to learn some of that stuff. But of course, in the beginning, it wasn't going to be the what I'm doing the rest of my life. This is just to get something accomplished. But,
sure.
I happen to be pretty decent at it when it comes to the technicals and the skill level of it. And I got better and better. And it came to a point where it felt, I wasn't just doing it anymore just for money. It was because I enjoyed what we were actually doing, building things, helping people, having great outcomes with different types of people. So that's how it kind of evolved. And when I started the company in 2005, I was working for another contractor. He went out of business, and I literally just took over what was going on, but I had already been running everything and controlling everything. So it was an easy transition, and I knew it would be the way I had to go, is what I wanted. So then we continued on.
And how about you, Matt? Thank you, Jeremy. For you, Matt, when you came on board, did you have any kind of experience in the trades, or did you and Jeremy kind of get into the business? You got in with Jeremy because you were friends, or how did that all work out?
probably a little bit of both. I mean, Jeremy and I had known each other since high school. And then we had worked together. We were framing houses for another contractor on together in the early 2000s, and then went separate ways. He continued in that, and I went to work for some builders, and I worked in the city for a while after that too. But we all kind of came back together around 2008, kind of at the right place at the right time, I guess, and kind of developed the clean space side of the business, the Dr. Energy Saver side of the business around that same time. So really, when I came back, my focus was to start building that brand. And Jeremy continued to focus building the construction and remodeling side of the business.
So how many guys do you have that are on the Dr. Energy Saver side, and how many are on the Burke HomeServices side? That's a toss-up.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, we have 2 sales guys. We have a production manager for the Dr. Energy Saver Basements by Burke side. And then we have 2 crews, a service guy. So maybe 6 or 7 guys in the field, plus our leadership over there and our sales. So
okay,
about 9 or 10 guys.
Yeah, and the rest is on the construction side and remodeling. You know, we have 3 crews in the field. We have a project manager, and it's sales as well. And then of course the girls in the office that handle across the board both kind of entities, I'd say.
So there's probably approximately 25 or so all total.
Correct.
Very nice. No, that's quite an evolution in 19 years for sure. What do you think the most important qualities to have a successful business are? What do you think they are? I'll start with Matt this time.
Oh man, I think something we've learned over time is communication, right? I mean, that's in anything, but that is really the basis. And the more, as we grow, the more we see, the more difficult communicating can be sometimes because there's so many more people. Perseverance, right? I mean, not every day is sunny, right? So there's that part of it. So you got to work through the rainy days and the cloudy days and the snow and the sleet. But yeah, I think probably the biggest thing is just that you have to want to serve a customer or your client, wherever you are, you have to be in service to them. Because if you're not doing that, then none of the other pieces are going to come into place. You can't.
Yeah, no, good point. I like that. You let the money chase you. You can't be chasing the money. You got to do the right thing for the right people at the right time for the right reasons. And, kind of goes to the, as I start to speak with Jeremy a little bit about this as well. Jeremy introduced me to Selling with Noble Purpose. It's a book that he had seen in a presentation at a conference that you had went to recently, and it was really stunning about it's right in front of us, and we do this every day if we're doing the right thing for people, but it just brought it to the forefront, right?
I agree totally. Yeah, I mean, just hearing a bit about the noble purpose and what it's about, working for something better. You're serving customers for a certain reason. It's not just for a transaction or to move money around. You're there to help them, and to be able to do it nobly, that you're actually there and you feel like you're really helping them. You're the guy that can make it happen, and you're the company that can make it happen. That's how you build so much better, relationships with your customers. And it trickles down into the company throughout the whole company. If we have that same feeling as we're getting the work, helping people, accomplishing the work for them, and then on the way out the door, same feeling, we've done this for them. They're happy about it. Wow, that feels really good. And that's a big difference compared to how I would thought about it like 8 years ago. It wasn't as much as I do now when it comes to a noble purpose.
Do you feel that now that you've been thinking about things like, helping people and having that noble purpose, did you see the result equal better sales, better revenue because of that, because you were doing it with that purpose, that passion?
I think definitely. I think when and some of us do it automatically, some of us in the field or say in sales in general, when you're dealing with people, some people already have that in them. That's how they're feeling when they're helping people, when they're meeting them, and that comes across. And some don't. But as you get as you grow as a person and as even in sales or even owning a company or working for a company, you evolve. And once you kind of feel that and learn that, you can definitely see the difference when you're communicating with people, how they see you, how they feel when they're with you. And it definitely makes a big difference. And I think the sales will definitely go up when you're on your game.
Yeah, no, and it just makes sense. It kind of goes hand in hand. For Matt, when we're doing basement systems, and Matt is really the one that heads that division, is the basement systems. That's also very hard, sometimes cramped work and things like that. How do you build a team based on the type of work that you do? How do you sell or show the value of basement systems for people, and show them that they actually need to have a dry basement, even if they have a crawl space and they don't realize it, and some of the collateral things that can come with that, which is mold or health issues and things like that, dry rot or wet rot, whatever you want to call it, rot. And, how do you show the value of what that is without telling them that their basement is really, it's a dumpster fire, and why didn't you take care of this now?
Yeah, so I think a lot of it is, there's no glamour in the waterproofing side of the business, right? There's no granite countertops, there's no custom cabinetry, and look, see, touch, everybody gets to, when we spend a week working in a crawl space, I don't even know how many homeowners maybe bring their neighbors down there to show them. Probably none. I don't know. Maybe.
Probably
right?
none.
But right. So, but we're problem solvers, right? So really the key is to offer solutions, ask those questions, really understand what it is the customer is looking to accomplish, why they called us to begin with. Sometimes it's just preventative because they want to make it an investment in their home in a different way. Maybe they're going to finish their basement, or they're going to do hardwood floors. They want to kind of take care of this underlying issue while they do that. And then there's the other customers that have, they finished their basement already and they had flooding and it's devastating, so we have to go in and solve that problem as well. So I think the real thing is just asking the right questions of the customer, and they have to, be willing to share with you what it is they're looking to accomplish. So building that trust, building that relationship with them, getting them to kind of open up to you and tell you, like, so you can customize that solution to solve the problem that they have. Because at the end, it's always their project. We're just facilitating the results, right? So it's the homeowner's project. It's their home. It's their problem, right? It's whatever it is that has caused them to call us. And then we're there to put the pieces together and help them get the results they want.
So there's more than one business that does basement systems in our area here in the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania. There's people from all over the world listening to this show. So one thing I did neglect to say is that Burke HomeServices, Dr. Energy Saver, is based in the beautiful Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania. And we have competition here. We have other people that do basement systems. There's other people that do home improvements and, home remodeling and kitchens and bathrooms and sunrooms and decks and everything else, and, finished basements, right, Jeremy? So, I mean, it's not just us, right? So marketing has shifted, almost overnight, it seemed, from newspapers, and the mats in diners, and now we're online and we have social media. We were just talking about video today, video production. How has that shift been? How have you both embraced it as a business, and what has that done for your business to set you apart from everybody else? Why you? Why are you the destination for what they're looking for? And I'll start with Jeremy on this one. What have you seen with the trends online? Where do your customers seem to live? Where are they looking for information on specific services, or, having their hopes, dreams, and aspirations fulfilled when they look for somebody that does what you do?
Well, going back to, a few years ago, obviously myself not knowing a lot about how this works, and mostly running off of referrals and people and taking that route. And you need a website. What's the website going to do? But once Matt came aboard years ago, and then we realized we needed to be in front of people, and we're part of other networks, dealerships that are doing the same thing. They have a lot of knowledge. We learned a lot from them, saying, you got to get out there at all aspects and show people, and it's not just for the return. You have to be in front of them all the time. And that's the only way you're going to get them to pick up the phone or click on, call me or fill something out. Or when they have a problem in their basement or crawlspace or whatever it may be, this is the guy. Click, I'm gonna call him. So it takes a lot of avenues from ads on the internet to Google to Facebook to staying in front of everybody every time they have their something in front of them. That's nowadays everything comes through your TV, your phone, a billboard in front of you, and mostly all digital, obviously. And it can be tracked and shown to you as you need it, independently. So Rick knows if he says, hey, you know what? I love, I need this beer bottle behind me. This is a certain type of beer bottle. All of a sudden he sees that on his phone. Oh, wait, well, I just was talking about this. That's how we find the people. And that's the scary part now is that's the way it happens. And you got to be a part of it. You really got to be a part of it because that's where it's going.
It is, and so things they've quickly evolved. Matt, you're very involved in the sales process and the training, but also with Jeremy for the marketing and everything else. What's your view on everything?
Well, I feel like sometimes there is a right place and right time, right? So kind of like our age and post 08, 09 kind of restructuring things. You just watched everything change, very rapidly over the last, 15 years. But I think we were kind of willing to go with that, right, where it was leading us. And the other secret is, it's really no secret, but it's Contractor Nation, who, we as a clean space dealer, as a Dr. Energy Saver dealer, we have this huge support system behind us with a ton of resources, tons of training. I don't know that anybody does the level of training that really we do, honestly. Like, it's just, there's so many resources and so much information, but we can also see what's working for 1,000 other Contractor Nation dealers throughout the country, right? So as we see how this is all evolving and how it's working for all of us, then we can, share that information and start to evolve from there. And, and then now we have that, post 08, post 09 market. And now we're in the post-COVID world, which is a whole other thing, right? So as this has come about over the last 4 years, you had, if you weren't going to change, you were going to get left in the dust. So we had to change with it as much as possible and see what was working, what's not working, and make adjustments as needed. And even now in this current market, we're still evolving, we're still changing, going to different types of video and different types of marketing through social media and things like that, and just trying to get it from the consumer all the time.
What about, now that leads into the certifications and the training and everything else. So you have Contractor Nation, which does a lot of the certifications, the training for both companies, for Burke HomeServices and for Dr. Energy Saver, right?
Correct. Yeah, they offer, just the training on products, installations, sales processes, how to deal with people. They have all that helping hand, and they really know what they're doing. So it's a good part about being a dealership of, Dr. Energy Saver and Contractor Nation. And we have access to it all the time. So, it's a constant learning and gaining momentum, with everybody. And it's, it never stops. It can't stop.
Well, because things are changing all the time. So, your guys get training in the certification and the technical aspect. Your sales team gets sales training on, how to relate, how to establish the need, that accomplished list, how to go and find solutions and to close the sale and to move on and, help people take care of whatever it is. Are they running away from pain or running towards pleasure? When we have a team that's as big as yours, right, with so many different moving parts, how do you keep them accountable? And how do you also have it with compassion and support them as well? So accountability is tough, and we work on that constantly. But how do we do it with that empathy and being supportive? How do we do that? Because that's one of the things that escapes so many businesses is, this is the way that we do it. So they either rule with an iron hand or they just are absent and say, well, you guys will do what you want to do and everything. And none of those is a really good recipe for success. But what we do here, I know for a fact you have an amazing team, you have an amazing company, but how do you keep them accountable on a daily basis without micromanaging them and still support them as well?
Mostly just checks and balances. Expectations of what's supposed to be done, and then checking on them that's getting accomplished. And everyone in the company understands their role for the most part because they were taught the role. So the front office knows what their role is when they answer the phones. They have checks and balances of what calls they made, who they talked to, and their superiors looking at that and saying, all right, let's look at this. Let's check that. Good job. We got to do better here, and so on and so forth. And that's in every department.
What do you think, Matt? Thank you, Jer.
Yeah, I mean, I think that everybody wants to know what their role is, right? And it's everybody who, whether they're answering the phone or they're doing the installs or they're leading a team, like they want to know what their role is, what's expected of them, and whether they're doing a good job or not. Like that is the highest percentile, right, of people do want to know at some level, right? But then the challenge is, well, how do you communicate that in a way that is going to get you the results that you really need, right? Because you can't treat everybody exactly the same, right? You have to kind of meet them where they're at and let them know that these are the goals, and these are our daily goals, these are our weekly goals, monthly goals, yearly. This is the goals of the company. One of the things we have is in our conference room in the back, the goals are written down. There's 2 boards back there, and everybody in the company can see the goals. And then that trickles all the way down to the installers. From the sales to the installs to the outbound calls, inbound calls, there's a goal for everybody. And just constantly communicating that clearly, and this is where we're at, this is where we want to be, are we on track, where do we correct course? It's a constant conversation, and it's a lot easier than to it's like the dog, it growls a couple times before it bites, right? You can't just bite. There's got to be some growling involved, right? So everybody has to be held accountable where they're at. You can't just say, hey, for the last 3 months you haven't, or you have, or you did or didn't, right? You have to, those conversations have to happen daily and weekly. And then, then you get the results that you're looking to get, whatever they may be.
How do you find, is that one of the most difficult parts of what you guys do, is the accountability? And, we manage things, we lead people. Is leadership, are you born a leader, or do you have to kind of fit into that role based on what it is that you do, how you do it, why you do it, and who you're working alongside with? What do you think about the whole leadership aspect? Because that's something that eludes so many businesses. They're very good at what they do, but their team is not held accountable, right? Is that difficult? Is it difficult to manage expectations and to lead people?
I think it's the most difficult part, like you said, of a company. And, you're not, there's natural born leaders, but it's constantly something that's grown. You get better and better at being a leader, throughout your life, obviously, and what you're doing and who you're dealing with. And if you have mentors, that you look up to, and you study things and you listen to things about leading, and that's how you get better at it and keep the communication. Because, not everyone's a leader. Definitely not, and the goal is to have as many good leaders that we possibly can, because then you'll have a good team in general. So it's definitely difficult, but coaching the guys, girls and guys, about leading each other, is a big benefit to the entire company.
So what you're saying, in essence, is great leaders create great leaders.
Correct.
And that's what we're doing.
That's how it should be. That's how it should be.
Because it's better with Burke, right, guys? Everything is better with Burke.
It's better with Burke.
Better with Burke. What do you think, Matt? Is that kind of the hardest thing for you? Is kind of managing expectations, leading people, or is there something else that you feel is maybe more of a challenge point?
Results, right? So we're striving towards results constantly. But when it comes to leaders, like I think Rick and I kind of had talked about this a little bit last week in a phone call. Leaders just show up sometimes, right? And they surprise you, because it's you put a group of anybody in a situation, and then the leader will appear, and it's not always who you think it is. So winning the hearts and minds of your team and trying to do that, and then understanding who is actually going to drive the results. It's not always the person who's in the leadership role who can lead the crew, right, or lead the team, or lead the results. It could be a different person at a different time, a different situation. Different challenges come up, and opportunities present themselves, and some people will just rise to that occasion and be driven by the results or the challenge, even, right? Like, I'm driven by the challenge. No, I can't do this. You don't think I can do this? And there's different motivators and there's different drivers for everybody. And the leadership thing, yes, it's a challenge, right? But if you told a guy, hey, if you hey, do you want to run a crew, right? Some people will say no, right? That's not what they want to do. They don't want to be in that position. And some people that haven't been given that opportunity yet, you can see it in their eye, right? They're ready to just seize that. As soon as the opportunity comes, they're ready to do that. That works for everybody from, you see that in sales, you see that in production, you see it in all different roles within the company, that the leaders, they just start to show themselves. And then those are the ones that, they kind of are driven by different things, right? They're not necessarily just driven by money, right? Or driven by opportunity. They're driven more or less by challenges sometimes. And I think that's something that's pretty interesting. And, kind of seizing that opportunity to make that person great, I guess you would say, right? You just gotta do that when it presents itself.
Perfectly said. That's great, guys. As we wrap up, Jeremy, what do you want to share with our listeners and our viewers about, say they're thinking about going into business? Doesn't have to be the trades, but it is going into business. What is a strategy or some words of wisdom that you can give them as they really kind of mull that over and see if it's for them, if entrepreneurship is for them?
I'm going to say you have to give 100%. 100% the entire time. You can't go into something thinking I'm going to give 50% of my time to this, and I'm going to get a good outcome, because you're not. You have to really give 100% full bore, and it takes a lot. It takes time. It takes a lot of knowledge and a lot of failing and fixing and failing and fixing, but you can't not. It takes work. That's what it's all about. You can't get anywhere without the hard work. So you really got to push on it and surround yourself with the people that want to be a part of what you're doing, and also that can help make yourself better. Because you can't handle everything yourself. You're going to have to bring in the right people. You have to set up a strategy with, bringing on someone like Matt, bringing on someone like Rick, bringing on somebody who can help you on the things you're not good at, so that you can prosper in the things you're really good at, and you can really excel on what you're good at. Now, so you definitely need a team to make it work. A business is never a one-man person. It's never going to happen. You need people around you to make it happen.
That's great advice. I love that. Thank you, Jeremy. Matt, how about what would you say to somebody that is looking to embark in entrepreneurship and they want to start a business? What kind of strategy or advice would you give to them?
I think the number one thing is you have to know your customer. Who it is, your end user, your client, or whoever it is you're going to be in service to through your business. And once you understand what problem you're solving or what you're bringing to that customer, and now you're fulfilling a need or whatever it is that you're doing. For us, we're problem solvers, and we know that. And once you understand that and work backwards, right? Instead of starting here like, oh, I'm going to waterproof basements, right? And then try to work in the direction of generating leads. And it's a very long path. And that's something that never ends, right? That every year, we start out, we need, everything's at zero. And we need 1,300 leads this year. And we need to run appointments and we have to do all these things. But the one thing that really, I don't think will change that much is at the end, knowing what service you're bringing to your customer and doing it genuinely, right? Like Jeremy said, with noble purpose, like you have to believe in what you're doing. If you don't, then it's transactionary and you're not going to make it. It's just not going to work out.
It'll be short term.
And so ring the bell and move on, right? And that isn't what we do. We're start to finish and then beyond. So that is fantastic. Great strategy, great wisdom, great viewpoints. If somebody wanted to get a hold of Burke Home Services or Dr. Energy Save or Jeremy, what would they have to do?
They can go to our site, BurkeHomeServices.com. They can go to basementsbyburke.com, Facebook pages, or they could call 570-872-9980. That's how you get a hold of us.
Excellent. Jeremy Burke, Matt Bauman, thank you so much for joining us today on Business and Brain Tumor Talk. Fantastic strategy and, real facts moving forward for you and your business. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm your host, Rick Franzo, and stay gold.
Thank you.